मैं हूं संतोष सिरोही। द विजडम प्रोजेक्ट 108 सीरीज पॉडकास्ट में आपका स्वागत है।
नमस्ते, ईथर वायर में आपका सबका स्वागत है एंड थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग मी एंड संतोष फॉर अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एपिसोड. Speaking of movie and reference to Bhagavad Gita, we cannot not talk about Oppenheimer Bhagavad Gita reference. What's your view on this whole movie and especially Bhagavad Gita verse being used at the decision-making point where Oppenheimer refers? Wanted to really know your views on that. Was it really rightly applied?
I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know exactly what you're referring to. But he referred to a verse from the 11th chapter of the Gita, which is actually trying to define what Atman is like. So the 10th chapter presents God analytically, which means he says, I am in this, I am in this, I am in this. 11th chapter presents the whole thing synthetically, meaning the whole thing is in one. Vishwarupadar, creation, maintenance, destruction. Now he has obviously used that particular verse totally out of context. That verse is not meant, he's talking about the brilliance of Atman is such that 1,000 suns. And he's equating that to the atomic bomb, which is completely out of context.
Right.
That's a destructive thing. This is evolutionary.
Kind of a guilt washing it came across that time.
No, he didn't understand. He just picked a verse out of it. And that 1,000, the light of 1,000.
Interpretation was the issue, I believe. What's Krishna's first and last instructive words? What they kind of reveal in the Gita.
The first verse that Krishna speaks, he says, Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam. How have you fallen into this delusion, O Arjuna? And when he says that, he's not just talking to Arjuna, he's talking to all of us. You are Atman, you are the power behind the whole universe. How could you have fallen into this state where you're totally dependent on the world? And you're having issues. And his last verse is very, very significant because he says, he doesn't say, now do as I say, which every parent does. He says, I have told you what I had to tell you. Now it is up to you. Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. Do what you like. He doesn't even say do what you think is right. So it indicates several things. That as a guru, as a guide, he's not involved, he's not attached to the situation or to the person. He understands nature functions. Whatever it is in Arjuna's nature will happen. I have done my bit, now it's time for me to exit. How many of us take that stand?
True.
It's objectivity to the ultimate, 100% objective. And yet he has done his best. So it's not as if he's indifferent. So the tamasic view is indifferent. I don't care, you do what you like. Rajasic is, I know what is right, I'm telling you and you have to follow what I'm saying. Sattvic, the real thing is, you give your heart and soul to that person. You do what you have to do wholeheartedly. Knowing fully well that it doesn't matter. And in the end, you withdraw saying, I have done my bit, now you do what you think is right. Not even think is right, you do what you like. And it goes to the credit of Arjuna, who wakes up and says, Nashto moha smritirlap. But prasadat payachita, it is your prasada, my moha is gone. I know what to do and I will do it. And he fights and wins. And so will we fight against our negativities and win, overcome, emerge triumphant if we follow the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita.
On self-discovery, there's always this saying, right? trek nahi aap tab karo. Don't go reaching out there. People go trekking. Maybe you want to add, you had that experience. So
So one of the thing again in Rishikesh happened. One very smart pandit was there. Rishi, and a lot of people come for trek in Rishikesh, and he was giving advice to everyone. Trek nahi tab karo, trek nahi tab karo. So, matlab people go for actualization. A trek, they want to conquer heights and feel. And his point of view is that trek ki jagah tab karo. The tab could be
in any form, but at your own home probably.
Yeah.
But be realistic.
Right. Yeah. So some people find climbing the heights gives them that highness, and he was bringing to the attention that tab karo. That's the high you should. What's your reference to that?
I don't know exactly what he meant. I don't understand it fully. But there is nothing wrong in trekking. It's a physical exercise. It gives you that high of having conquered peaks. It can be used in association with the spiritual path. Like yoga, which means pranayam and asanas, are a very helpful tool to use along with karma, bhakti and jnana yogas, because it helps you overcome your apathy, the lethargy in the body, the tamasic guna in the body. So the trekking is one part of it. But yes, if you're obsessed with it, if you're involved in it, then he may have said,
It's better to dhyan that way.
But physical exercise is a very, very important aspect of the spiritual path, which most of us don't give importance to. You see, Western countries, particularly the United States, is a country which is driven by energy, dynamism, action. They're active. They don't have this thing of pressing buttons and calling servants. Even if the chairman of a company wants a glass of water, he gets up and gets it. So that readiness to act, we need to cultivate within us. And the young need an outlet for their energy. They have tremendous energy. So running or marathon or trekking, it's nice because the mountains give you that feeling of freedom.
Right.
You have a rapid fire for...
Of course, but before that, stay till the end of the episode. Metaverse and Gita, what's the connection coming up? Initially, as a child, it appeared like a mythology, and later on, once you read about it, that when Lord Krishna gave a spectrum of existence of the whole universe, beyond universe, and each of them having a Brahma of its own, it felt like quite a close comparison of what we call today metaverse. What was that connection and what was the story, if you can share with us?
Actually, philosophically, that 11th chapter has no significance. It is because Arjuna asked for it that he gave. If you notice in the 11th chapter, Arjuna actually asks Krishna that I want to see where all do you exist. So now what happens is, at a low level of spiritual development, you need a fantastic expression or manifestation of the divine to understand that yes, there is divinity. As you, like for instance, you go to the Himalayas, you go to the Niagara Falls, you see all these, and then you say, there is something. But as you evolve spiritually, you understand that the same force is there in a flower, in a fruit, in a sunset or a sunrise. You don't need to go anywhere looking for it. And then at the highest level, you don't need any manifestation because you understand it's all inside. Now, if you go below that, you're not even inspired by, let's say, the Himalayas or the Niagara, you need to pull a rabbit out of a hat. You need magic to be convinced. So Arjuna was at the stage where at that time he needed some help by way of manifestation. So he showed it. So actually, people who speak on the Bhagavad Gita often skip verses chapters 10 and 11 because it has no philosophy.
Hmm.
So there is no particular significance to this expression, because the bottom line is that it is all Maya.
Hmm.
It's all the waking world that we are in right now is no different from the dream that we have experienced last night and have understood it to be an illusion. It's just the difference is that that was black and white. This is 4D,
4D.
and in color.
Well,
Outstanding. Fantastic. Should we do the rapid fire
Yeah.
now? Okay. Speaking of atomic wordings and especially the great takeaways from this epic, there are some rapid fire questions, ma'am. We'll start. As per Bhagavad Gita, सबसे बड़ा पाप क्या है?
Going against your conscience,
सबसे बड़ा पुण्य?
following your conscience.
सबसे बड़ी जीवन की घटना क्या है? The biggest incident of life.
When you awaken to your own potential,
सबसे बड़ा गुण क्या है? What is the best quality of highest?
sattvic,
सबसे छोटी और most powerful चीज क्या है?
विचार,
सबसे बड़ी मिथ्या?
कि ये जगत सच है,
सबसे बड़ा पछतावा?
कि हमने इससे पहले भगवान की याद नहीं की.
सबसे बुरी बीमारी?
Selfishness,
सबसे बड़ा दुख क्या है?
that we haven't got to happiness,
सबसे बड़ा सत्य क्या है?
that I am God, aham brahmasmi.
Before we wrap up, one last question. We've been doing this series, both me and Jyoti, the Wisdom Project, as we call it. It's about a 108 series podcast, going back to the roots, going to the beginnings. We've done a couple of episodes starting this year. What's your thoughts? What are your views on a project like this, where we try to bring to the world, we take them back to the basics so that we look at the future? What's your views on that?
It's a very, very good initiative, and more such things need to be done to transmit the values of our ancient culture and to reinvent them for the present generation, which is what the gurus of the past did. And when you use modern technology and as a podcast, you are using it for the purpose for which I believe technology has developed.
Yeah.
Not just for putting up your photographs and increasing your desire and ego.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very good initiative, and more such people need to do it. The only thing is a word of caution that don't expect great numbers, because by its very nature,
Yeah.
it is exclusive. Only intellectuals, only inward-looking people will be interested in something like this. But if you do it as your contribution and not expect anything out of it, I'm sure it will be a huge success.